Okay, glad to know you're still here. Now, building upon the knowledge you just got from our understanding of how we can actually work with forms using the form button there, which automatically creates a form, we'll now build upon that and then look at what happens when you decide to use a form design. To do that, I'm just first of all going to close these particular objects that are opened here, and then we're going to build upon that. Okay, um, that will take just a second. Let's just hold on. Okay, do you want to save? I don't want to save, and I'm going to close the opened table. Fine. Now at this point we're going to be going with the second option, which is form design. Now your form design, as you can see, opens you a particular form page that is empty. So just think about it like an empty piece of paper, just your white A4 paper that is empty, without any details, without any ink on it. That is what this form 1 is displaying for you. It has nothing, no control, nothing whatsoever. Now going back to the page I just showed you where we saw this particular form here, let's say this is what we intend doing. We want to create the name, we want to create an email, and then we want to create a message including the contact us. Right, so keep this in mind. Let's now see how that goes. So I'm going back to my access form, and over here we have what we call controls at the top here. These are tools that allow us to create our form nicely. What do those tools do? How do they function? Well, they are quite a number, and so you might want to take your time to see what each of them do. But first off, you would realize that the pick tool or the select tool is the first one that is by default on point. And the second tool I'm going to use is going to be the text box, and that is what I would use to create the name. I'm going to use it to create the email, and then I'm going to use it to create the, what's that? Is that message? Was that message? Yeah, message. So let's do that. Now I'm going to click on text 0 over here. I'm going to actually double click on it and then highlight it out from 0 to enter the data I want to enter. So I want to enter name. Okay, having done that, I can click on another text box and click on that point and then move my text box into the page as well. Okay, and then at this point I can select text 2 and enter the name, email, right? Excuse me. I'm going to enter email. Now having entered email, I could move these guys a little to the left. Okay, I'm just going to use the side arrow key on the left arrow key rather on my keyboard and just arrange them the way I like. Okay, and then I could easily still stretch this to have a better view of what we had there. So I'm just going to stretch this as well. Let's move into the left slightly. Okay, and then I'm going to stretch over there. Nice. Now let's adjust this a little that way. Okay, now having done this, the next thing I would now do would be to enter the message, right? So the message would look somewhat like that. So I'm just extending this, and yeah, let's move him over there to that area. I'm not being very precise here, but I believe that you're getting the idea. So we'll enter message over here, and we're almost done. Now we have one more thing. I'm going to use a label here, and the label I will be using will be, let me see, what did we have there? Contact us. Alright, so that's the label I'm using. So I'm going to use contact us. Okay, and I could increase the font size if I so desire. I can do that from the sorry, just a second. Let's see, the font type should be yeah, it should be somewhere here. Don't mind me on my hesitation. But yeah, we can increase the font type if we so desire. Let's do that this way. Okay, and make some slight adjustments there. Okay, all right. Now what else do I want to do here? All right, I can, yeah, see what I was looking for just here. The font size by default it is 11. I can increase the size to say 26. Okay, and then increase this size of the font over there. What else could we do to this? We could add some things to our font, increase the weight of the font, make it bold, or probably make it extra bold. I think I would go with heavy. Make it underlined as we saw there, and yes to that. Alright, so let's just leave it at that. And now at this point our form has been created. Slightly, just look at this again. It's not going to be exactly what we have there anyway, but we're getting the picture. Now at this point I would click on form view, and bingo, I have a form created for me. So at this point one would say, okay, at this point I just need to enter a name. So the name is Gilead. Alright, and email is blah blah blah. Okay, yeah, that's the email. It goes that way. Message: hi, how are you doing? Right, that's the message, and it's done. Okay, that's how we spelled wrongly, my bad. Okay, how are you doing? And it's done. So basically, from your blank form, you could easily create just about any form. So now take a look at what we have now on the website, and you can begin to think, okay, what other types of forms can we now create? I hope you're getting the picture of what we're getting at. So unlike your tables where you basically just have rows and columns, your forms tend to give you much more control about or over what you're trying, the kind of data you're trying to collect. It kind of makes everything much more fun, I must say. So I could easily begin to say, okay, since we are over here, let's go back to the design view. Since we are over here, we could begin to add some form of design. We could begin to add some picture over here. Okay, so let's take, for instance, I wanted to add a picture over here. Let's say, yeah, like the one that we have here. This is a picture I used some time ago. And go back to the form view. You see how nicely you could play around with your forms and really make things work. So this is how we can actually create our blank forms, and it can be really fun. Believe me, it can be really fun. So do not hesitate to play around with this. Try to see how you could work with some of these tools that come up with your property sheet. Okay, the property sheet tends to come up automatically on its own when you start using each of these tools. So on selecting each of the text boxes, you notice that the property sheets all come out, and you can begin to play around with them, make changes to them, increase their size, add colors, increase the font type, make a kind of transparency, a grid style, all of those you could play with them. So there's a very large amount or array of things you could do to your forms and the tools that you work on and how they generally do their works. Okay, so take your time, play around with them. I'm not saying that you must be doing this all the time, but it's a good skill to have when you actually want to be an actual database builder and administrator. Okay, so I'd like to see you try to play around with this as much as possible. It is really fun. Now let me go back to the create tab, and you can easily see that the next guy on the list is your blank form. And like you can guess, the blank form allows you to create just a form with no controls or format. Now before I demonstrate this, let me save this form I just created. I kind of like it, so I'm going to save it and give it the name contact us form, and save. Now that should allow it to appear under my navigation bar. So yes, I have my contact us form there. So on clicking upon my blank form, yes, it is indeed a very empty one with no records, with no tables, nothing at all, except I now decide to probably add tables. That's what I could use by clicking on tables and then expanding the table to then get the information I want. So on clicking and dragging, I can drag the parts that I want to be displayed inside my table, just like that, if I were using a blank form, that is. Okay, and at the same time my controls still come up, so it means that I can begin to make some additions, add things, remove stuff, make some enhancements to my form and all of that. I can do all of that without any problem. Okay, so that is what we do when we are trying to create a blank form. I hope this made a whole lot of sense. Okay, so it's really that easy. Like I mentioned earlier, it's really not a problem. All you just need to do now is to really know how to start it afresh. How to really begin. The moment you already know how to begin, every other thing just falls into place. Okay, all right. I know you might be wondering. Okay, so what does the form wizard do? Not to worry. Like you can see here, it says that you use it, or it shows the form wizard that helps you create a simple customizable forms. In the next video, we're going to demonstrate this practically. Meantime, take your time, explore this, try to see how easily you can manipulate forms and create your own style of forms. In the next video, we're going to see how the form wizard works. I hope this has been interesting and entertaining for you. I would see you guys in a bit.